Hello friends, today we are going to see a video on development administration. What are the points we are going to cover in this topic? First, the meaning of the concept of development administration. Next, the nature and purpose of development administration and the various facets and elements of development administration. So, as we know today, the governments have increased in sizes. It's like in the era of globalization, the size of the government has increased. The various population has increased. So the technology has increased. Global trade has the world has came closer to each other. As a result of which the various activities carried by the government have also increased. So because of this, some serious imbalances have been emerged. Firstly, the hopes of the people and the realities of the ground. Secondly, the development's needs and their fulfillment. It is within this context that in order to carry out the growing functions of the government, the administrative system needs to be adapted, developed and even expanded to realize these development needs. So today we are going to see just like that what is development administration, how did it evolve, what is its meaning and so on. You must be knowing about the World War. After the World War II, in the post World War II, the era of Cold War started. In the Cold War, there were two factions. One was the communist section and other the capitalist section, led by the US. Communist was of Russia. Both the countries were trying to increase their influence on the nations around them, as a result of which there was a tug of war between both these nations to try to gain influence and support of the third world countries. You must have seen about colonization. The colonization ended after the World War II, and development was a major issue in all these colonial countries, as a result of which we have seen that the US the Marshall Plan and the reconstruction of Europe and third world countries like African and Asian countries. So to bring about development, but this development was about how it was implemented in US and European countries. So it was a Western style of development which was coming in. But over a period of time, they realized that this development was not foolproof. It lagged many things, many aspects. Because third world countries like Africa, Asia, they have their own culture, they have their own tradition, they have their own problems. And development of West may not necessarily be the development which could be implemented in these third world countries. As a result of which, it was very essential that development administration actually understands what these developing countries require to bring up. So the term development administration was discovered in 1950s, as we have seen, after the post Second World War. However, it was in the early 1960s that development administration gained popularity as a distinct approach towards administering development process under extremely situation in developing countries. So now we'll see what is the exact meaning of the concept of development administration. The term development administration is defined differently by different scholars, obviously, and we have seen in the slide that three scholars have defined it. The first author, Milton S. Mann, says that development administration refers to those activities of government that promote economic growth, strengthen human and organizational capacities, enhance quality in the distribution of opportunities and income. So basically, this Milton S. Mann is talking about economic growth, and the strength and the human and organizational capacities. So capacity building he is talking about, and enhancing the quality. It is talking about increasing the standard of living, generating employment, and so on. Next definition is given by G.F. Gantt. G.F. Gantt says that development administration refers to management of policies, programs, and projects designed to achieve development goals and objectives. So basically, he's talking about the three P's. Three P's. First P stands for policies. Second P stands for programs, and third P stands for projects. So, what are these three P's? Three P's are used to achieve development goals and objectives. Development administration is concerned with development policies, programs, and projects in those conditions in which there are wide and new demands as well as low capacities and severe obstacles for meeting these demands. So, this is what development administration is according to Bernard Schaffer. He says that it's concerned with development policies, programs, and projects. So, is very much similar to what J.F. Gantt has said, and he has said that there are wide and new demands as well as low capacities and severe obstacles. So this is what he is saying. Nextly, now we'll see the commonality in these three definitions. Yes, what's the commonality as we have seen in the first three definitions? This is the special kind of an administration. So development administration is itself a substream under public administration. It's a topic under public administration, and it varies, as they are saying that it varies, and it's best suited to the needs and challenges of the developing countries where there is a formidable obstacle in the road to development. Have you seen that in Africa we have seen how there is a dictatorship in some countries. In some countries they are poverty ridden, even if they are resourceful, yet they have been exploited by these multinational companies, so development has not been happening. So that's what basically development administration is all about. What stands out clear in these definitions is the development administration is premised on the idea that there are significant and fundamental differences between administrative process in developed and developing countries. So what is they are saying that development administration is premised on the idea that there are fundamental differences, okay, because see, in the West and in the, say, the third world countries, the south countries, south of Africa, South America, in Asia, which is in the south, so we see there are administrative fundamental differences between the administrative processes. As we have seen that in European countries there was a democracy, very early democracy came there, and then it was imported by America, and how there are some differences, but they have one line of thought as far as administrative process is concerned. But in Africa, maybe we had dictators, then there are tribes have different types of administrative processes. In Middle East you have the Saudi and all those countries, so they have different, like many countries work on the Sharia, and like Nepal was a king till few years ago. So there are fundamental differences. So that is what development administration is stressing upon. And development administration has questioned the relevance of classical traditional public administration systems, concepts and methods, the rapidly changing demands and challenges of development. Look, in the earlier chapters, we have seen the traditional public administration, and in traditional public administration we have seen how different thinkers, basically the classical thinkers, have told us about how public administration can be carried out. So if I give you example of Arvik and Gulick, they have given postcorb. Then Weber's bureaucracy, where we have a hierarchy, there is a division, there is meritocracy and various aspects. So this traditional public administration is suitable to a period and to a particular place in the West, but this is not suitable for Africa and Asia, because they have different issues and different problems and different type of conditions. So see, like in traditional public administration there has been no place for the human element, the emotional element, or say the cultural element. So development administration tries to underline that point, that why there is a lacuna in the traditional administration, and therefore as per the changing demands and challenges of development, administration has to reorient itself and find new methodologies for implementing in these third world countries in the post 1950s and the 60s era. One crucial aspect of development administration is that people are not only the targets of development administration but are also viewed as useful resources and beneficiaries of development projects. See, basically in Weberian bureaucracy, in the demerits we have seen that rules have become the ends, and rather than being the means, and the goals, that is the people welfare, have been very much neglected. And this is what the West was trying to implement in the third world countries and the colonial the countries which were once colonies. So here development administration is saying that it is the people who should be the stakeholders and the beneficiaries, because they are a part of that process and they have to actively participate in that development process. The nature of development problems and challenges of developing countries are highly complex, dynamic and formidable. Yes, as we have seen in Africa, how they have been, if you see the map of Africa, the countries have been just a scale has been used and countries have been carved out for in the post-colonial era by the British, French and other forces. So what we have seen that many times it has led to ethnic clashes, and even today, like we have this Sudan crisis, where Sudan and South Sudan had a fight, and then South Sudan ultimately was made a country. Even there are fights in Kenya and Nigeria. So basically this was because it was this artificial drawing of line on the map and countries were created. So it's a very highly complex problem. Other is the dynamic and formidable problems. Basically, the proponents of this view hold that it is imperative to find appropriate institutions and organizations that are better able to address these challenges. Yes, basically what we are seeing here is that we need institutions and organizations that could better address these challenges, because see, if an institution is there and an organization is there, then things could be implemented properly, and it has to be such a way that it is generic to that place. Hence there is a realization that public institutions must be recreated and restructured. Yes, recreated and restructured according to the needs, the developmental needs and aspirations of the people. Look, in the developed countries, say Canada, say US, say UK, that needs of the people can be of other needs. It can be high level needs, but in countries like third world countries and Asian countries, the basic needs are roti kapda makan. So needs can be changed. Just within India, look, if you take into consideration Kerala, the need for Kerala is not education. It has to focus on some other area. But in Bihar, education is a basic problem, and it has to be tackled. So accordingly, these public institutions have to be recreated and restructured so that it can meet what they say the developmental needs and aspirations of the people. It is often argued that development in developing countries is not frustrated by inadequate financial resources, but by numerous inadequacies inherent in the administrative machinery of the bureaucracies in developing countries. Probably you must be knowing about Fred Ricks. If you don't know, we will make a video on it. But Fred Ricks have very beautifully, he has told us that how that bureaucracies behave in these developing countries. He has given a prismatic Sala model. He has talked about how there is a what you say CLET, where club and club plus the sect is which is playing its role. There is high level of nepotism, there is corruption, and there is red tapeism, and all those factors are prevalent in these bureaucracies in these developing countries. So basically, even if we have very resource rich countries like in Africa or say in Asia, but even if there is adequate resources, the people are not able to reap the benefits because of this inadequate, insufficient, and inefficient administrative machinery of bureaucracies. So that is the point that the development administration is trying to underline. It is therefore important that the administrative systems and organizations be structured. So basically structuring करना है इन administrative systems का और organizations का, जो कि उस एरिया के लिए कारगर साबित हो. उस एरिया के लिए कारगर साबित होने के लिए उनका स्ट्रक्चरिंग होना जरूरी है, और डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में यही आता है. This means that public organizations must conform to their own socio-economic and political environment. Basically, हाँ, socio-economic conditions जो है वो, जैसे कि अफ्रीका में पुअर कंट्रीज है तो वहाँ का जो सोशियो-इकोनॉमिक है, वहाँ पे ट्राइब्स है, उनके अपने कल्चर है, तो और फिर पॉलिटिकल एनवायरनमेंट भी एक सिस्टम रहती है वहाँ पे. जैसे समझो इंडिया का एग्जांपल लोगे आप, तो यहाँ पे पॉलिटिकल एनवायरनमेंट में देयर इज अ काइंड ऑफ say Khap Panchayat, then there were princely states, and then so on and so forth. So that public organizations have to be restructured and reoriented according to these administrative and development goals. And hence what we see is there is a kind of a diverse kinds of systems, and hence a one size fits approach that the West tried to propose on the third world countries is not the right. And this is that model of the traditional and the classical approach of public administration is what is being challenged by development administration. The new thinking in development discourse puts more emphasis on experimentation. Basically, yes, because see, the models of the West failed in these third world countries, and as a result of which experimentation is the key. If we experiment and try to find out innovative ways where the socio-economic, political needs of the people of those areas could be fulfilled, as there is an ocean of diversity and there is no best way. You cannot say that this is the best way. It has to be implemented and seen in practical whether it's right or wrong. And if it is right and it has been implemented, like take an example of India, like pilot project. Now there is a talk about universal basic income. So as such, government has not proposed anything, but there is talk that there can be a pilot project where UBI can be implemented in some area, and in that some area, if it is successful, then we will implement it in the entire India. So this is what basically is experimentation. One other issue is that government needs to intervene in the economy. Proponents of this view argue that government and their bureaucracies in developing countries cannot afford to be passive participants in the development process. Yes, basically, see what has happened is in the post-colonial era, you can't just have the market and tell the market that bring about development, because you see इंडिया का ही एग्जांपल ले लो आपकी. एक बार जो इंडिपेंडेंस मिल गया था 1947 में, तो अगर हम लोग डायरेक्ट लिबरलाइजेशन करते तो आज इंडिया जिस मुकाम पे पहुंचा है वो उस मुकाम पे शायद पहुंच ना पाता. इस स्थिति में द पब्लिक सेक्टर यूनिट्स जो है, जो PSUs जो है, उन्होंने बहुत ही एक भगीरथ कार्य किया है भारत को आगे ले जाने में. जैसे हम देखते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान मोटर्स की एम्बेसडर्स आती थी, फिर NTPC है, फिर बहुत सारे हैं. जैसे गवर्नमेंट ने काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें अपने हाथ में ले ली थी. भारत इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स लिमिटेड है, भेल है, HAL है. तो मार्केट बेसिकली हम मार्केट पे निर्भर हमेशा रह नहीं सकते, क्योंकि मार्केट उसी जगह पे काम करता है जहाँ पे प्रॉफिट हो, और जो मेन एम है पब्लिक वेलफेयर का और एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन का, वो शायद मार्केट फुलफिल नहीं कर पाता। तो इसलिए गवर्नमेंट को भी एक्टिवली इंटरवीन करना चाहिए इकोनॉमी में, और इसीलिए जो वेस्ट का मॉडल था वो शायद कारगर ना साबित होता है। तो और इसलिए द ब्यूरोक्रेसीज इन द डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज पैसिव तो रह नहीं सकते, उनको एक्टिव रहना ही चाहिए था, और बिल्कुल इंडिया ने वही किया। शायद कुछ लिबरलाइजेशन में कुछ ज़्यादा ही देरी कर दी, लेकिन तुरंत लिबरलाइजेशन करना भी सही नहीं था। तो दिस इज द वे आई वुड से दैट गवर्नमेंट नीड्स टू इंटरवीन. Government needs to be actively involved in the design, formulation and administration of development projects. Yes, basically, because you see, even if the market is doing some project or some in some arena, there needs to be some kind of regulation. Otherwise, the market will just look behind the profit. But as a result, government has to be involved in this design formulation processes. Proponents of this view hold that the government should go beyond mere regulation of economy and extend their role in the realm of facilitating and inducing fundamental and structural changes. So, development administration is saying that mere regulation is not the ultimate goal of the government. It has to be act as a facilitator and bring about fundamental and structural changes. I'll give you an example. Like, look for India itself, that there is a private sector in India, but just regulation cannot be so. सिर्फ रेगुलेशन से क्या हुआ, एक लाइसेंस राज सिस्टम चालू हो गया, और सिर्फ लाइसेंसिंग और लाइसेंसिंग, और उसके वजह से फिर आप देखते हैं कैसे करप्शन हुआ, डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुआ, ये सब चीज़ें। तो एक फैसिलिटेटर का भी रोल प्ले करना चाहिए। तो गवर्नमेंट ने कैसे ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस पे ज़्यादा तवज्जो दिया है नए गवर्नमेंट ने। फिर फंडामेंटल स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस आप कैसे ला सकते हैं, जैसे टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर में चेंज लाया है, अभी जीएसटी का बिल लाया है, तो एक वन नेशन वन टैक्स लाना है। तो ऐसे फंडामेंटल और स्ट्रक्चरल, आप रियल इस्टेट की देख लो कि हमने रेरा बिल लाया है, रेरा बनेगा स्टेट लेवल पे, सेंट्रल लेवल पे, और रेगुलेशन होगा, फैसिलिटेशन होगा, और एक फंडामेंटल और स्ट्रक्चरल चेंज होगा। तो दिस इज व्हाट द गवर्नमेंट इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू डू फॉर द पीपल एज फार एज डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इज कंसर्न्ड. Now we'll see what are the facets of development administration. Development administration has two major facets, that is development of administration and administration of development. Great. What is this? Development of administration. Development of administration मतलब क्या कि आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कैपेसिटीज को इम्प्रूव करो, बिकॉज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स जो है आज के, यू सी दिस IAS people, they are jack of everything but expert of none. So what they must have the administrative capacities, and capacity building can be done by say we can have institutions like we have Labasna, then we could create institutions where expertise could be given to them, or they could also be sent for distance learning, or for like they could be sent to UK or somewhere in foreign countries to learn the administrative capacity. So basically what their development of administration is, what it is about, strengthening and improving administrative capacity. Now administrative capacities is one, training the our administrators. Two, there needs to be put a system in place as so that the administrative capacity is increased, like digitalization in this present era, digitalization, then there needs to be an infrastructure for this digital means, then there has to be a grievance system for the people to complain, then there has to be, say, the right to service, like Telangana and Maharashtra has passed. So then there needs to be a citizen charter, there needs to be so many things. So this is what development of administration is talking about. Next facet is administration of development. Now first we have seen that how capacity building of administration has happened in the first facet. In the next facet we are seeing that administration of development implies that administrative organizations are expected to act as instruments in the implementation of development programs, projects and policies। ये आप गैंट की डेफिनेशन को देख रहे हैं, 3 P's। तो ये 3 P's की बात है कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ डेवलपमेंट ने क्या करना चाहिए कि इट हैज़ टू एक्ट एज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट फॉर implementation of these 3 P's। To this end, it can be argued that the 2 facets जो हमने अभी देखे constitute 2 sides of the same coin: administration of development and development of administration। This means that administration cannot be improved without changes in environmental constraints that hamper its effectiveness, and equally the environment cannot be changed unless and until administration of development programs is strengthened। तो कैसे ये दो चीज़ों की बात कर रहे हैं, पहली जगह पे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को डेवलप करो और दूसरी जगह पे डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन बोल रहा है और एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ डेवलपमेंट बोल रहा है। तो सिर्फ ना कि एनवायरनमेंट बल्कि उसके साथ साथ इफेक्टिवनेस। तो एनवायरनमेंट क्या है, एनवायरनमेंट जो हम पौधे और वो सब एनवायरनमेंट नहीं है। मैं एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हूँ, ब्यूरोक्रेसी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है और जो लोग हैं उसके आजू बाजू उनकी जो सोशल लाइफ है, इकोनॉमिक लाइफ है, पॉलिटिकल लाइफ है, वो एक एनवायरनमेंट है। और फिर इस एनवायरनमेंट में कंस्ट्रेंट्स है, कुछ उपलब्धियां है और एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन जो है उसको इफेक्टिवनेस लाना है खुद में। तो दोनों में एक बैलेंस लाना चाहिए, एनवायरनमेंट के कंस्ट्रेंट्स को कम करना और एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को रीओरिएंट करना उस एनवायरनमेंट को रिस्पॉन्ड करने के लिए, ये डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। तो इसलिए उन्होंने कहा है कि ये एक सिक्के के 2 पहलू है। फर्स्ट फैसेट वाज प्लान्ड एंड कोऑर्डिनेटेड एफर्ट, देन सेकंड एलिमेंट एक्चुअली element was goal oriented administration, and third is management capacities। Now fourth one, progressivism। Now what is this? The element of progressivism of goals is an accepted feature of development administration। Progressivism in this case means greater participation of people in development process। Yeah, participation of people is most important in development administration, because see, if people do not participate, the bureaucrats will not understand what are the needs of the people, and there will be no element of accountability, because if people are not participating, they will not know what's happening around, and that's the reason why participation is very important। I'll give you an example of Rajasthan। In Rajasthan there was MKSS, there is actually MKSS, the Mazdoor Kisan Sangharsh Samiti। So this is run by this activist named Aruna Roy। So what they do is basically they conduct a Jan Sunwai, and in this Jan Sunwai there is a kind of a Gram Sabha meeting, not exactly but like that, and the officials or the bureaucrats are called and they are being asked about why a particular so XYZ thing has not been done in XYZ area। So there is kind of a participation which we are seeing, and answer the bureaucrats are made to answer various questions। So this is what people's participation can do। This is one aspect which I want to underline। The other aspect can be like people's participation. Many times the government on its own cannot do many things, it has to have the help of the people। Like take an example of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan। Swachh Bharat Abhiyan cannot just be a government endeavor, it has to be a people's movement, and every person has to be a part of it, and then it could be implemented। So progressivism is what is this they are trying to underline by saying this, that people's participation is very much important। So what they say is this essentially requires a forecast of new competencies in the wake of changing technology and method। देखो टेक्नोलॉजी और मेथड हम पीपल्स पार्टिसिपेशन में कैसे इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। जैसे अभी mygov.in है, तो वहाँ पे लोग डायरेक्ट अपनी राय देते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी को। फिर मन की बात है, उसमें लोग फ़ोन करके प्रधानमंत्री जी को मैसेज देते हैं। तो अलग अलग टेक्नोलॉजीज़ है, मेथड्स है, जिससे लोग फिर अपना फेसबुक पे या सोशल मीडिया पे आप देखोगे कि पेटिशन साइन होता है। तो ये सब भी एक पार्ट बन जाता है डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का। द नेक्स्ट एलिमेंट इज पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन। दिस इज वेरी मच similar to what we have seen in the previous point about progressivism. So that is basically to bring about an socio-economic change, and that will be facilitated by greater participation. And if public participation can be made a central feature of development administration will be the grassroots oriented. देखो, गांधी जी ने एक बताया हमको कि डेवलपमेंट जो है, मतलब सरकार जो है वो गांव से चलनी चाहिए, जो प्लानिंग है वो गांव से होना चाहिए, और फिर ये ग्रास रूट जो है, तो ग्रास रूट ओरिएंटेड डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. तो हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि महात्मा गांधी कितने दूरदर्शी थे. आज एनवायरनमेंट के लिए इतना कंसर्न दिखा रहे हैं. गांधी जी ने ही कहा था कि जो हमारे नीड्स है उसी को फुलफिल करो, ना कि ग्रिड को. तो वो उसी तरह डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का भी है कि ये पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन पे ज़्यादा तवज्जो दे रहा है, जो महात्मा गांधी जी ने पहले ही कहा था कि गांव से दिल्ली तक ऐसी सरकार चलनी चाहिए. सो इट्स ग्रास रूट ओरिएंटेड. पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन होगा तो सब फॉर्मुलेशन हो, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हो, मॉनिटरिंग हो और इवेल्यूशन हो, सब में अगर होगा तो एक अच्छी पॉलिसी बनेगी, अच्छे से इम्प्लीमेंट होगी, और बहुत क्रिटिकल होगा ये डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के लिए. नेक्स्ट इज क्रिएटिविटी एंड इनोवेटिवनेस. In this changing world where there is a more population and there is a scarcity of resources, creativity and innovativeness is what we can say एक अमृत जैसा है क्रिएटिविटीनेस. तो आज क्रिएटिविटीनेस की वजह से क्या हो रहा है कि हम लोग कितने सारे चीज़ों जो है वो एफिशिएंटली कर पा रहे हैं, कम रिसोर्सेज में कर पा रहे हैं. टेक एग्जांपल दैट सोलार ट्री आपने कभी सुना होगा, तो नहीं सुना होगा तो आप गूगल कर लीजिए. सोलार ट्री से एक क्रिएटिव है, तो कम एरिया में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हम सोलर एनर्जी कैसे इस्तेमाल करें और हाउ वी कैन कन्वर्ट इट इनटू इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एंड फॉर अदर पर्पसेस. तो क्रिएटिविटी का एक पार्ट हो गया. फिर आप गुजरात में अगर देखोगे तो कैनल्स पे सोलर ये बिठाए हैं, सोलर पैनल्स बिठाए. तो कैनल्स का जो पानी है वो इवेपोरेट भी नहीं होता, और साथ साथ सोलर पैनल्स के लिए जगह भी मिल जाती है. तो ये भी एक इनोवेटिवनेस, क्रिएटिविटी का एक पार्ट हो गया. तो ये इनोवेटिवनेस, क्रिएटिविटी. दूसरा एग्जांपल अगर देना होगा तो नीम कोटिंग का हम दे सकते हैं. जैसे मोदी जी ने कहा है कि यूरिया की नीम कोटिंग होती है, तो इससे क्या हो गया कि जो इंडस्ट्रीज इस्तेमाल कर रही थी और ब्लैक मार्केटिंग चल रहा था यूरिया का, वो एकदम बंद हो गया, और जो बेनिफिशियरीज है फार्मर्स, उन तक यूरिया पहुंचने लग गया विथ प्रॉपर सब्सिडी. तो क्रिएटिविटी एंड इनोवेटिवनेस कैन डू वंडर्स इन डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज रिस्पॉन्सिवनेस एंड अकाउंटेबिलिटी. The traditional administrative system was criticized for the simple reason that administrators tended to be routine-minded, stagnant, and generally lacking in enthusiasm and ability. एकदम स्टील केज थे ना, एकदम आयरन केज अप्रोच था उनका, और वैल्यू न्यूट्रल अप्रोच था. तो है ही. लेकिन डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या बोलता है? इट रिक्वायर्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स हु आर डायनेमिक, इनोवेटिव एंड डेवलपमेंट कॉन्शियस. तो रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेसिटी जो है वो डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स को देता है. उन पे डायनेमिकसिटी लाने की, रूल से हट के थोड़ा लोगों की समस्याओं के लिए फ्लेक्सिबल होने की बात वो करता है. तो इट हैज़ टू बी कॉन्शियस इनफ टू परफॉर्म देयर ड्यूटीज इन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. Development administration therefore requires to be responsive to the needs of the people, to the emotions of the people, to the wants of the people, and at the same time they have to be accountable for what the actions they take. So there has to be a kind of a balance between responsiveness and accountability. The next element is people centered administration. This is again what is like what I could say is that means rules have become the means and goals rules have been misused and people are not getting what they require because means have become the ends. Okay, so अभी रूल बताते हैं कि ये रूल है और इसके वजह से हम कर नहीं सकते, तो पीपल सेंटर्ड अप्रोच नहीं है. कोई पॉलिसी बनती है तो अगर उसको पीपल को ही कुछ मद्देनज़र रख के वो पॉलिसी बनाई ना होगी. फिर गांधी जी को हम लाएंगे इसमें. गांधी जी ने हम कहा है कि मैं उस दिन सेटिस्फाइड हूँगा जब देश का जो आखिरी नागरिक है वो खुश हो, उसको रोटी कपड़ा मकान मिले. तो जो पॉलिसीज जो है वो पीपल को सेंटर में रख के बनाई जानी चाहिए, ना कि कोई क्रोनी कैपिटलिज्म, कोई इंडस्ट्री या कॉरपोरेट को के फेवर में बननी चाहिए या फॉरेन कंपनीज के फेवर में बननी चाहिए. तो दैट्स व्हाट दिस पॉइंट इज, दैट इट शुड बी पीपल सेंटर्ड. And this is because development programs and projects are designed by planners and administrators with the aim of benefiting the people. Yeah, so development administration must consistently respond to the growing demands, challenges and expectations from the people. Yeah, basically. So these are what the elements we have seen till now, and now we'll see the development constraints in developing कंट्रीज. क्या रोक रहा है डेवलपमेंट को इन डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में. फर्स्ट इज द कॉलोनियल एंड द वेस्टर्न पैटर्न ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. सेकेंड इज द लैक ऑफ स्किल्ड पर्सनल एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव स्टाफ. थर्ड इज द सेंट्रलाइज्ड ब्यूरोक्रेटिक स्ट्रक्चर्स. या इट्स सेंट्रलाइज्ड. एज अ रिजल्ट देयर इज अ टॉप डाउन अप्रोच एंड डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन के वजह से क्या हो सकता है ये हमने देखा है 73rd और 74th अमेंडमेंट से. inadequate political will and support to improve administrative systems. कभी कभी पॉलिटिक्स चाहता ही नहीं है कि लोग एजुकेट हो, क्योंकि एक बार एजुकेट हो गए तो फिर उनका धंधा बंद हो जाएगा. मल्टीप्लिसिटी ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एजेंसीज. एक काम के लिए 4 एजेंसीज लगी होती है, तो देयर इज वेस्टेज ऑफ ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज, वेस्टेज ऑफ फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज, प्लस देयर इज टोटल केओस. एंड देखो कैसे, आई विल गिव एन एग्जांपल दैट how some time ago SEBI and IRDA were fighting over jurisdiction over something over. So this is what multiplicity of administrative agencies do. Limited public participation, किसी को कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. lack of motivation है, corruption है. तो ये सब डेवलपमेंट कंस्ट्रेंट्स है जिसके वजह से डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में डेवलपमेंट नहीं होती. सो अगर और रीड करना हो तो आप सप्रू, RK सप्रू करके चैप्टर 3 वो रीड कर सकते हैं. उसमें डेवलपमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के बारे में आपको मिलेगा. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर हियरिंग एंड बियरिंग मी. सो प्लीज़ लाइक, सब्सक्राइब and give your valuable comments along with suggestions on topics on which videos you want me to make. So अगर फीडबैक मिला तो अच्छा लगता है और करने को हम कुछ करेंगे फिर आप कहेंगे तो. थैंक यू वेरी मच.